South Korea has recorded yet another successful milestone in its fight against COVID-19. The city of Daegu, which was once touted as the next Wuhan, reported 0 new virus cases on Friday. In late February, South Korea was reporting around 900 new cases every day, but this figure has come down to 27 in the last 24 hours. Experts have attributed this success to universal testing and targeted isolation of suspected patients. Daegu still accounts for more than half of the confirmed cases in the country, but the outbreak seems to have been brought under control for now. This development comes at a crucial juncture for South Korea since the country is headed to the polls just 4 days from now. South Korea's election agency has set up early voting centers, hoping that the move will reduce the rush on election day. 8 special voting centers have been set up in the virus-hit areas so that the country's 3,000 plus patients can cast their votes. These centers will also be used by health workers in the country. The big dilemma for the government is how to arrange the ballots for 46,000 people who are currently in self-quarantine. The government at this point has assured the people in quarantine that their votes will be recorded. President Moon Jae-in was among those who turned up to cast votes. Temperature checks and disinfection drives are being carried out at all polling booths, and voters have been given sanitizers and gloves to prevent chances of the infection spreading. The polls on the 15th of April will elect 300 members to the National Assembly. Our correspondent Bruce Harrison sent us this report from Seoul. Take a look.
Mohammed, the government's been preparing for this for weeks now. They are taking very serious measures to make sure that the virus does not spread at the polls next week. If you want to vote in the election, the parliamentary election next Wednesday, don't show up with a fever. They're going to be temperature checking everyone who enters the polling locations. And if you have a fever, you're going to be sent back home, where there will be an option at some point to cast your ballot, but you won't be doing it at the polling booth that day. Anybody who's not wearing a mask, anybody who refuses to wear rubber gloves or use hand sanitizer as well, won't be able to cast their votes. And people are also required, Mohammed, to stand 1 meter apart when they're queuing. I think this will be a bit complicated. I think there's going to be a bit of confusion, especially if people pack in there. But as you mentioned, the early voting, that's really crucial, and that should cut down on some of the crowds that would normally show up on an election day when there's not an epidemic plaguing the country.